The first browser I'd like to start with is Chrome. And I'll show you the about box for each one of the browsers that I'm using so you can see what version this is applicable for. So this is Chrome 8. And again, the search box works for us nicely. We've got the placeholder working well. Some of the validation you'll see with these types I'll run in Chrome that you can see. The development experience range here, this range slider here works nicely for us. The numeric text box here gives us the spin buttons. T-shirt color doesn't really do much for us as far as the data list. The background color doesn't really work at all. And the dates, we've got the spin buttons, but they don't really render with any calendar controls or anything that would make it nice to work with. The thing I want you to take away from this exercise, though, is that I'm using some new tags, yet a browser that doesn't even fully support everything is able to at least render them to the user and allow you to gather some information. So if I use the date input type here, I can still gather date information even if I don't have a nice calendar that's being exposed to the user. So that's Chrome. Let's go ahead and take a look at Opera. For Opera, I'm on version 11, as you can see here. And Opera does the best job of really rendering out some of these new controls. Again, for some reason I can't show you how the interactive pieces work, but if I were to click on this drop down in any other window, I'd get a nice calendar control which would allow me to pick a date. The time here is just the spin buttons, but the date time gives me the date picker along with a way to deal with the time itself. This is datetime local, again, date picker and time chooser, but without the considerations for the time zone. When I click on the drop down here for the month, I get a date picker, but it allows me to choose in a full month at a time and vacation week, a week at a time. If I come over here to the range control, you can see the tick marks that I was describing to you. And so each browser implements a little bit different functionality, and they also do it in their own nuanced way. So the placeholder seems to work here in Opera, and if I go to search, if I start typing, unfortunately I do not get the nice X that I get in Chrome. So let's keep going down the line here. Let's take a look at Safari. Here I'm running Safari 5. And for the search, if I start typing, I think I said before that Chrome was the only one that implemented, so Safari does implement the search input type for us. We've got the placeholders. I've got the slider here. Again, but the date time elements here are not implemented. Even with Chrome, you have the spin buttons, but Safari will render out a text box. Again, driving home the point, though, that if your browser doesn't support it, at least you'll get a text box and get an opportunity to gather user input. Let's take a look at Firefox next. With Firefox, we're looking at version 3.6. And as you can see, the search box doesn't work. The placeholders don't work. We don't have a slider. We don't have spin buttons, and there's nothing here for the dates. So Firefox is obviously focusing their development efforts in other areas, hopefully of supporting HTML5. One last one, let's look at IE8. The final stop in our browser roundup, here's IE8, and you can see that it's basically in the same position as Firefox. Now IE9 will support much more of the HTML5 toolset, but we'll have to see after it comes out of beta exactly what it will support. So now that you've had a chance to review how some of these new input elements behave in the browsers, let's take a look at exactly how you can implement not only built-in validation, but also running some custom validation rules within your form as well.